The 1-900 Wrestling program is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/1900 Wrestling. Hey, there's one reason to do it, to support us. But you want to know what? We're going to give you another reason. You go ahead and be a part of the best wrestling community. If you want to replicate, and I mean really replicate, sitting on your couch with your buddies, no matter what, all live wrestling. We're talking New Japan. We're talking Ring of Honor. We're talking all the WWE events. We're talking whatever streams on Twitch. There is somebody in our Discord talking about it, having a good time. It's not a gangbang like all these other gigantic Facebook groups and everything. We just ask you to come on in, have a good time, and support the show at the same time. So go ahead and do it. Patreon.com/1900 Wrestling. But enough of talking about how we do the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
I want you to call me for all of wrestling's latest news and views. I've been around in wrestling for 35 years, and nobody knows wrestling like me. Remember the number 1-900 Wrestling.
Stupid.
Oh, my God. It is 1-900 Wrestling. Joining you once again, it is I, Justin Robert Young. And joining me, as always, from Austin, Texas, it is Willie Dills Gregory. You had a birthday over the weekend, and so we had to punt the show a little bit.
Yes.
Because Super Bowl plus birthday equals destroyed voice.
It just equals too many things for a man of my age. So it's tough, man. You realize you can't take the bumps you used to. You know.
You want to know what? You got to You got to realize you're really trying to struggle to find room on that drink and bump card as you get a little older.
You just gotta slow down. You gotta work a little bit of a safer match, and I didn't do that. I went out there. I tried to do frog splashes. And,
you went hard.
Yeah, and I tried to do 450s off the top. It was a shit show. So. Yeah, I had a great time, though. Really enjoyed myself, but woke up the next day and was just like, yeah, I can't talk. And you could probably still hear it in my voice. It's a little bit nasally and a little throatier than normal. So
can I ask you a question? Because this is something that I feel has come for me with age, as I at times drink more irresponsibly than I should. The only real difference now is that now I know it starts to hurt before I go to sleep. Like I just know now. I've been through it enough where I know. You want to know what? I know I'm at the top of the roller coaster and it's nowhere but down from here.
Yeah. Although here's the problem for me. No. Okay. I feel it.
In a word, no, I don't have that.
I feel it. I could definitely feel it when I'm actually going to bed. Right.
Yeah.
Like after I got home, because we also did the thing where, you know, I've been eating at home like a lot, pretty healthy, a lot of chicken and rice and veggies.
Sure.
And then we also do the thing when you've had a little too much to drink where we got In-N-Out on the way home. Right.
Okay.
So not only that I just eat, or drink it like way more than I should have, played pool way longer than I should have. Then I also put a whole bunch of crap into my body. Although In-N-Out, to be fair, in comparison to other options, to say Taco Bell, fresh ingredients, right?
Sure.
We know that for sure. But I got 2 orders of animal style fries.
I didn't even know they had an In-N-Out in Austin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They got about like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, look at that.
But generally, you go the P. Terry's route when you're in Austin.
Is that it? Yeah.
Every now and then, you're driving by an In-N-Out, and you're like, "Oh, it's a fun little treat." Okay. So yeah, I went pretty deep into the junk food at the end of the night too. It was just all signs. It was like just 3 tropical storms merged at one point and created a Cat 38 hurricane.
You just have to cocoon yourself for a solid 24 hours.
Well, the good thing that I got to do the next day.
What's that?
I binge watched a bunch of Ricochet matches on the Sunday while I was waiting for the Super Bowl to start. And then on Monday, I just binge watched Netflix, which I hadn't done in a really long time. It was like just lay on the couch and watch Netflix all day.
What did you nice. what did you go ahead and dig into?
It was like an actual sick day. Ozark.
Heard great stuff about Ozark.
Fantastic show. Yeah, I haven't quite finished that one. And then I got super into Riverdale, although by the end of the season 1, I was not as into it as I was after episode 1.
Yeah.
At first I was like, "Oh, I like this." Okay.
It's like a weird, sexy, gritty reboot of the Archie world,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. But then there's like elements of Glee thrown in there, and then it's got a murder mystery, and sometimes it was really cheesy. So, Also, I don't know if you've ever seen. There's a show, or there's a Funny or Die series called Zach Morris is
trash.
Terrible.
Zach Morris is trash. Yeah.
So ever since watching that, every time I see a show where the main character does something really terrible, but somehow everybody still considers him
super cool,
awesome. Yeah, I'm like, so there's many times in that show where I'm like, Archie, you're trash. What are you doing?
You're a trash person, like, Archie. Yeah,
you're a horrible human, and I don't like you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm glad that you are culturally refreshed as well as physically. Let's get into the week that was in wrestling. This is one of those weird weeks. And I want to start with this question. Is it weird? Do you find it confusing, this particular moment that we are in on the road to WrestleMania, that we are looking forward to 2 pay-per-views separately on 2 different brands that are both setups for another pay-per-view? So if you are watching WWE, you are constantly being reminded and reinforced for 3 separate pay-per-views.
That is a little bit odd, but I'm used to it at this point, I think, because this is just what this season in wrestling is kind of all about, right?
Well, but this is only the second year that it's had that we've had the brand split.
That we've had this brand
right?
split. Yeah, it's true. I will say we're at a weird spot in the brand split where there's been a number of injuries and things like that where the problem with when you do the brand split and you make the new belts and everything, and you got a separate belt for each side.
Yeah.
Is when you go through these moments where the roster thins out just a touch. It really hurts both sides, right? Where as before, you could just dip into whatever and you could still create a whole bunch of matches. You can much easier. You could shift storylines and throw different people and, figure out, call an audible, right? And it's a lot harder when you're kind of stuck into, well, these are the people we have to work with for this person, right?
Yeah.
So it has gotten a little bit funky just because I think a lot of plans have shifted recently, but I'm not that weirded out about it, but
yeah, I guess I don't know why it's affecting me this year more than it did last year, because I don't remember being confused about it, but it's just like there's just so many threads, and maybe I'm just like I'm paying more attention to stuff outside of the WWE as well, that it's like this, man, it's just a gigantic tangle of wrestling right now, which is like at its core long form storytelling, and sometimes I don't know, I feel the pads of my fingers slipping away from the grasp of what of the stories and my emotional investment and kind of everything.
I don't disagree with that. I think also right now we're in that weird section where all the storylines are a little convoluted.
Yes.
Because they do have another pay-per-view to go through. So we're one step removed on all sides from what's actually going to go down, right? And the problem with this last pay-per-view before WrestleMania is it is stifled by the fact that it is the thing before WrestleMania, right? Like it is not a completion to any storyline.
not only is it the thing before WrestleMania, but it's not the thing that's branded the thing before WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, right? Like,
I know.
In the grand scheme of things, when you look at it from a distance, you're like, okay, the Royal Rumble, awesome for the match, awesome for the fact that this puts us on the road to WrestleMania, right? And then you have these kind of like pay-per-views, like, okay,
well, Fastlane is the only one that really kind of feels like they just shoved that in there, right? They're like, we need one more thing because we still have, 2 months. Elimination Chamber always kind of feels like kind of a big deal, right? Because it's
it went away for a while.
Like a Hell in a Cell type of thing.
It went away for a while and came back last year with the new chamber, which I think is great. I think it's going to be a really, really good match. But also, it's like, well, we kind of know what the main event's going to be, right? We kind of know it's going to be Brock versus Roman, and I think we're going to get a great Elimination Chamber match. We're going to set up as many storylines as we can coming out of it. But it's kind of the same thing with Asuka now, where it's like, okay, Asuka's going to do whatever Asuka's going to do. She won the Royal Rumble. She's going to get the shot at WrestleMania. Who does she get the shot to? Who knows? Like, I don't know. It just it kind of seems, it seems like just a road bump,
Yeah, and that's the problem for us, though. Really, right? Like,
Yes.
we pay too much attention, and I think there's something to be said that I need to just get the hell off of R squared circle. Like, I just need to get the hell away from there and stop trying to figure out what the damn main event for WrestleMania is going to be every year. Like, because right now, you're right. Like, I'm going to watch Elimination Chamber, understanding exactly what's going to happen. Like, we're going to get a fun Elias moment. We're going to get some other fun moments, but ultimately we know who's going to win. Right. And that kind of sucks.
Oh crap. I just had the vision of Elias playing in.
Yeah, he's got to play his guitar like from inside his pod,
inside
right?
the pod of the Elimination Chamber to the point where somebody like Braun breaks open his pod and rips him out.
Yeah. Everyone's got to get really upset about this happening. So you're going to get a lot of Braun just kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
He'll do the spot where he gets pinned and then he gets mad and then he just destroys everybody else. We're going to get some of that stuff going on. But we know Roman, this is not going to be the time they're going to tease us with the Roman victory, right? Like, this is where it's actually going to go down.
No, Roman will win the Elimination Chamber. Will go on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And I think that's going to be a good match, by the way. I think that we're at a point now where
it's going to be fun.
I'm more excited to see that match than I think I've ever been excited to see that match, despite the fact that they've teased it and multi-manned it a million times at this point.
The other problem with this too is like a match like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles in a triple threat, where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are kind of like, okay, these guys are. This is going to build to. I think it's going to be a super fun match, but again, it's like the result is just kind of there. We know.
Well, I mean, they've certainly put a lot of time and effort into talking about AJ Styles versus Nakamura, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion, and
it would be a shock. It would be a shock if they put, because again, that's the thing about WrestleMania, is it's for the layman more so than anything else. So it's like they want to lay those tracks from far out, so people who are following it week to week can be like, ooh, a little suspense. Will Sami Zayn do it? Will Kevin Owens do it? No, probably not, because they're tweeting out and they want people who don't pay attention to wrestling but have it on in the periphery be like, oh, that's cool. These are two guys that aren't usual. This is a new match for WWE, something that you've never seen before on the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's the issue with like us knowing too much though too, is that it's like I basically know what this match is going to entail as well. It's going to you're gonna get this moment where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have their falling out, right? I mean, it's going to set up their match. Like, it's just like I don't want to know this. I don't want to know all these things. When I go watch the Super Bowl, I don't know who's going to win ever, right?
Yeah.
I could say, oh, Tom Brady, he's been in a lot of Super Bowls, but you know what? He's also lost a lot of Super Bowls. So
Lost 3 Super Bowls. Tom Brady, by the way, in the hashtag everything is wrestling, Tom Brady is the Roman Reigns of the NFL.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the Eagles went over hard. I mean, they
did. They worked.
Yeah.
And the NFL worked everybody the same way the WWE loves to work them. In the big spots, just beat Roman Reigns. And in the big spots,
they even did the whole thing where Patriots were up by 1 in the fourth quarter. Looks like, okay, they got the advantage. Then you even give them a chance to actually come back and win.
Who is the Nick Foles wrestling replacement? Like,
well, no, he's Daniel Bryan, right?
No, because he's not the guy. He's the next guy, but he like subbed in at the last minute. I guess that might be Daniel Bryan, but like every underdog, I don't know, but like everybody kind of knew Daniel Bryan deserved it. Nobody was like Nick Foles deserves this. God damn it.
Kind of. I don't know, man. He was the sub who became the starter, who then like took the world by storm and then lost his job again and then got it back, like, and then won the Super Bowl. It's a pretty good story. He called that play where he caught the touchdown himself.
He called Philly. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There was some magical moments there.
No, Reverend Puck in our Twitch chat is saying Mick Foley. I feel like Mick Foley is the better way to go because nobody looked at Mick Foley as the guy, and he got proven to be the guy in a way that, like, Daniel Bryan, that story that was being told for a year was he could be the guy if he got a shot.
You
know, nobody going into anything with Mick Foley or Nick Foles were like, oh, if he only gets a shot, really, he'll show everybody.
But nobody was really talking about Nick Foles going into that Super Bowl. They're talking about the defense of the Phillies. They're talking about the running game. They're talking about their athletic receivers. And then they're talking about Tom Brady when they're talking about quarterbacks. So Nick Foles was just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. I'm also here.
Hey, guys, me too, right?
And that's Daniel Bryan going up against Batista and Randy Orton, right?
Oh, but wait.
I stick by my story.
All right.
I think you guys are both wrong.
Simpson. I stick by my story.
He had his WrestleMania moment, too. He got to hold it up high.
Speaking of Daniel Bryan, where are we going with this SmackDown stuff?
I don't know, man, because at this point, I don't think there's a match coming up anymore. It's just, I was really hopeful, you know?
That it was Shane Daniel Bryan.
It seemed Matt Hardy glasses on. And I thought, hey, maybe there's something here, you know, like maybe we're actually moving towards him actually making a return, which would be insane because it's almost like they've been working us for years then, if that's what happened, right?
I mean, they made a point. They made a point to
he'll never come back, you know, all that.
They made a point to reset up the Miz stuff at Raw 25, right?
Sure. No, I mean, but then, you know, if you think about that, if he does come back, you've got his retirement speech and all these things. Like, you got all these moments to just show us that he's not coming back.
Yeah.
And then you just get so teased that here he comes, man. It's going to happen. But I don't know. We're getting pretty close.
So, all right. So right now, let's have a new running segment here on this show. Your Daniel Bryan hope meter. It is in percentage from 1 to 100.
Okay.
Actually, no. It goes from no to yes. Where are you from no to yes on your Daniel Bryan hope meter?
I think we're right now. We're currently at niet.
At niet. Okay.
Which is like has some elements of yes in it, but ultimately means no.
But in Russia means no. All right, I like that. So right now you are at a niet.
I'm at niet on the road between no and yes.
Well, let's then extrapolate that one step further, because obviously he has been very public about the fact that he wants to be wrestling. The event that we continue to see teased, including the fact that we're going to get Kenny Omega versus Cody at the Super Card of Honor on WrestleMania weekend for ROH, but looming is the big all-in pay-per-view that the Bucks and Cody are putting together. And, two kind of developments there. A, Daniel Bryan still kind of lingering. Question is whether or not he'll be able to wrestle for WWE again. And UFC announcing that CM Punk will be fighting at their Chicago pay-per-view coming up in the next couple months. You almost wonder whether or not that is UFC getting whatever they can out of CM Punk now to pop a buy rate because they know he's going away.
Did they announce his opponent?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, here, answer me this. Did you watch CM Punk?
He kind of got fed to somebody that first time around. He could have pulled, some chump, but instead they actually gave him the opponent who was a potential UFC fighter for a long time, right?
So did you watch the first CM Punk fight?
Yes. It was bad.
Yes.
It was a bad fight. I mean, it was a bad UFC fight, but it was fun to watch CM Punk try to do it, right?
It was great to see him in the ring, right? He looked like
it was entertaining, and then it was over pretty quick.
Yeah.
And also he had a terrible strategy.
If by terrible strategy you meant trying to become a UFC fighter,
yeah.
Past the age of 37.
Well, no, but I mean, that his overall strategy, his macro strategy was bad, but his micro strategy was also bad in that he decided to charge at the opponent, which that just wasn't going to work. It was never going to work.
So this is a pay-per-view set for June 9th at the United Center, UFC 225. No opponent has been set for CM Punk.
Okay, so we just got a date, and then they'll just But they should give him somebody he can actually be competitive against, though, right?
I mean, I think they're just gonna feed him to the wolves again.
You think so? Yeah. And
just
I think this is the last time we're going to use him, so let's just let everybody laugh at him again.
I mean, you don't want him to look good, right?
I guess. Yeah, you probably don't want UFC fighters to look bad, but I don't know. What if you got some other non-UFC type-ish fighter and made it kind of more of a celebrity fun match? I don't know.
I see. That's the thing is I don't think that the UFC core fandom,
I don't think CM Punk would want that, honestly.
The core UFC fandom wants to see CM Punk get his ass kicked or
probably
become legitimately good, right? Like that's, and they would greatly prefer the
wrestling
first to
fans,
the second.
Like CM Punk fans want to see him actually be good.
Wrestling fans,
UFC fans never want a wrestler to come to UFC and
unless you're Brock and you have a background and you beat other gigantic human beings, right? Like that's pretty much it. Wrestling fans want Punk to get the fuck out of the UFC so we can come back to wrestling.
So we can watch him wrestle again.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. We can watch him do what he is among the best people to ever do a thing at.
Let's have him get his ass kicked so he can I want another indie run from CM Punk, man. I would love to see that. I would love to see him in Japan. I would love to see him just all around in some smaller venues. And then eventually, big pop and a big return. Paul Heyman comes out. We'll get that before it's a little too late. We're getting close. We're not far off. I mean, the man's mid to late 30s at this point, right?
He is 39 years of age.
39. Okay, so officially late 30s. Yes.
Officially, damn near 40. I believe is how it is. It is referred to colloquially. Let me ask you this. Is it weird that Ronda Rousey hasn't shown up on Raw yet?
Not if your prediction is that she's just not going to see any action until WrestleMania. I think they got to keep her kind of... Because the earlier she shows up, the earlier it's hard to have a segment that makes sense that's not about her wrestling, right?
So, yeah. So you have to... That clock starts ticking the second she's showing up every week.
Because what does she do that isn't setting up a match or whatever? And if your prediction is correct, then it's not weird at all. If she's supposed to have some match at some point beforehand, then she needs to show up pretty soon. But I guess at this point, that's not what's going to be happening. And I'm kind of getting the sense that we are going to get the triple threat for probably the SmackDown's championship at this point.
Well, do you want to know what the Lord our God Dave Meltzer has suggested?
What's that?
According to him, this is still going to be a mixed tag match. That this is still what they wanted to set up way back at WrestleMania here in San Francisco, where it is going to be Steph and Triple H versus Ronda or The Rock, if they can get him, or Kurt Angle. That this is not about her entering into the women's division, which is weird.
That's fine. That's fine, because I wouldn't mind just seeing Charlotte, Asuka, and Alexa, like Nia Jax or whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
And just keep Ronda out of the title picture, because it really kind of doesn't make sense if she's in there, right? But also, I mean, she could say, I wouldn't mind her coming in and her, kind of her thing is, I'm the hottest free agent signing. Part of my contract is I'm going to get a title shot right away, right?
Yeah.
Like that could be the angle of why she's suddenly in the title shot. Is like that's part of my contract, right? Like, so it wouldn't really be that crazy to me if they have her inserted. But that mixed match, that could be fun. I could be into that.
I mean, that would be gigantic. It would be huge. It would probably be the most famous. It would be the most high profile match.
It would be like the
right?
third match they talk about, right?
Yeah.
You'd have your 2 championship matches, and you'd have that one. It would be like.
Well, it also, I mean, if they get The Rock, it's through the roof. It's over the top.
Massive.
It's beyond all comprehension.
That's a good way for The Rock to actually participate in WrestleMania. That's not him, lighting his name on fire with a friggin' blowtorch and doing a 30-minute promo that leads to nothing. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that instead of him coming out and just taking up time for no reason.
Yeah. Speaking of Dave Meltzer, the Lord our God. I need to get like a heavenly sound effect.
We need
yeah. And lo, the Lord our God, Dave Meltzer, did arise from San Jose to bless the WWE for the first time since CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank. The WWE officially has a 5-star match.
And we haven't had a chance to talk about this since it actually was given out, the 5-star match. But we did talk about the match itself and whether or not it could be. So this sets some interesting precedents. First of all, first time NXT's got a 5-star match, right? Which that's a pretty big deal. And they've had some amazing matches, right?
They've had some barn burners.
Bringing up the other stuff, right? Everyone's bringing up Zayn Neville.
Neville, yeah, of course. That was probably, probably the first big. Everybody needs to pay attention to this. This NXT thing match would be Zayn Cesaro, right?
Zayn Cesaro 2 out of 3 falls. Then you've also got the Fatal 4-Way with Tyson Kidd. I believe Zayn was also in there.
Yep, Zayn, Neville, and Tyler Breeze.
Yep, that's right. Which I think that was my first match where I was like, holy crap, NXT is dope. Like that was the one where, because I think it was actually that era where Tyson Kidd was coming out with the headphones on. And, talking about his cats and everything like that. And I was just like, oh, this show is amazing. And then they're bringing up things like the Revival DIY and things like that. And they're like, so this match is better than all of those. And I think actually you can look at those and you can, obviously everything's subjective when it comes to this.
Listen,
I people who get pissed.
Far be it from me to blaspheme against the Lord our God, Dave Meltzer, but I will in hushed tones say, whatever goes into his calculus is whatever goes into his calculus. Did I enjoy that match more than I enjoyed watching DIY Revival Authors of Pain, for example, at last year's Mania takeover? Maybe not. Did I enjoy it more than even the Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black. Maybe not. Did I enjoy it more than Zayn Nakamura? No. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that there was certainly a lot to unpack in that match. It got the featured time. I think both performers were amazing. But I don't know if that's markedly better than, John Cena and AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, which I think was two of the best to ever do it, operating at about as high a level as they can operate in front of that kind of crowd with those kind of stakes. Like, I don't know. I just sometimes I don't know what gets Meltzer's binger swole to the point where it's not a 4.75. It's a 5.
He really seems to love what a lot of fans call just storytelling, which is apparently false finishes and working a body part, which I don't know if I really am on board with. Like, these things equal storytelling. It's like, I think that every match should have its own different version of that, and we should stop needing to putting these kind of things in a box, right? Like, if this happens, if someone hits a finisher and he kicks out, it's an amazing match. It's like, well, you could do a bunch of non-finishers.
Yeah.
And then never have them false finish kick out of a finisher. And it could still be one of the best matches ever. If you just do to me, it's just about at some point during the match, I literally have no idea who's going to win. And at that point, I am invested in it as purely an athletic competition and not as predetermined wrestling match. Like, it's the matches where somehow you make me forget all of the things I know about wrestling, right? And I'm basically just watching in amazement two people do incredible things. And that this match definitely had that, right? But I will say that I think as much as I enjoyed the Omega Okada matches, and I did, and I think that they were definitely deserving of a lot of the praise that they got. A lot of it to me just kind of did feel like it was about the ending sequences and the false finishes and the kicking out or not kicking out or trying to set up finishers, all that kind of stuff, more than I personally would have liked, right?
Yeah.
Like, I got to be honest, I don't like the Rainmaker that much. Like, it's cool, but it's just the clothesline, right? And at the end of the day...
No. It's a ripcord clothesline.
It's a rip... Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So you're yanking... Yeah, you're using the momentum...
Adds more momentum than throwing somebody off of the ropes. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, listen, thank God nobody taught Bradshaw how to do a ripcord clothesline, or else there might have been deaths.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Right?
He literally would have decapitated people. And also, though, I will say the Rainmaker, when he hits it on somebody like Omega or somebody like Naito, does look super impressive because those guys sell the hell out of it, right? Like,
yeah.
But I watched those matches again. I've watched those matches a few times, but I would put Omega Ibushi at 5 stars before I put the Omega Okada matches at 5 stars. Like, to me, that match was
I'll tell you what. Thankfully,
way more incredible.
Thankfully, Willie, we do have our own rating here on 1-900
right.
Wrestling. We have 1 to 900.
1 to 900.
So
yes.
so now that Meltzer has graced Almas and Gargano with 5 stars, are you ready to give your rating, your 1 to 900 rating on Almas Gargano?
It's damn near like, top of the thing, but I don't think it quite is, and not because it didn't deserve its 5 stars for sure, but I'm gonna go like 880 out of 1 to 900.
Wow.
So,
880 out of 900.
Perfect. Yeah. It's almost there. It is so damn close. But to me, it's like the spots that it did have were really amazing sequences. But the only like really high impact one that made me like go like kind of cringe a little was the double knees to the outside turnbuckle post, right?
Yeah.
Like, everything else was just like awesome kind of chain wrestling spots and reversals and things like that. But it didn't have that brutal moment like that until that very end, and I was like, holy crap.
Johnny Gargano is a wrestler for our modern era because, if nothing else, he is amazing at looking concussed.
Oh my God, yeah. No, you believe like something's actually wrong with this man. Like he's never going to be the same again.
Because he looks like the guys. I would be curious to talk to him about this on an honest level. Like, do you watch, like, for football fans, to go back to football, we've seen a lot of people that are like concussed in the history of watching televised football, and you see the vacant look in their eyes and like the weird like involuntary like hand movements and stuff like that. I wonder if if he's taken from that specifically, because he looks so realistically concussed. Like he is the star of CTE.
He also found some way to make his lips covered in some weird blue stuff at the very end. I don't know if you caught that too. Like, I'm not sure how that happened. Like, I guess it came off of Almas's gear at some point, or it came off of a turnbuckle or something. But yeah, he looked really hurt. And yeah, it's like some guys, like when Ziggler's overselling, I don't enjoy it.
He's like flopping around like a fish. Yeah.
Yeah, he like flops, or sometimes he gets hit with a move, and then he just like, oh, but I could barely walk, and you just like, no, I just saw you get up and run across the ring and hit somebody with a zigzag, and now suddenly you can barely move. It's like that kind of selling I'm not a huge fan of, but yeah, this kind of like, oh my God, I'm not physically here right now.
Yeah. No, the only time that Ziggler's selling gets in my craw is during Money in the Bank matches or any ladder match where everybody is doing the like super slow climbing, but then Ziggler will turn on the like full athletic turbo jets, and you'll realize he could get to the top of that ladder in a half second. He is an athletic freak.
Yeah, but the rest of the time it's one rung at a time.
Getting there. All right.
Or the thing where they get to the 9 count and then suddenly they leap up and jump into the ring. Yeah, it's like I wish that these weren't the tropes that we got all the time. I wish that people would like, one arm is up there and then it's like, oh, I'm pulling, and as I get to 9, oh, finally, like that kind of stuff would be more preferable. But I did whatever. These are small. I'm nitpicking.
One of our favorite things to do on this show is taking the world of wrestling and making you realize that everything is indeed wrestling. We have this in the form of a philosophical question. Willie, what have you brought?
So I just kind of want to talk about something that I've noticed myself doing, and I think it changes in different scenarios. But when you meet people, do you assume heel? Do you assume face? Or do you just assign everybody the tweener role? And then because I think some people, and I think there's another word for what we could call these people, but I just kind of want to find out before I apply that to it, the wrestling version of it. Some people tend to walk out into the world and view everybody as adversaries, and some people just think everybody loves them and they love everybody, right? Where do you fall on that spectrum?
I probably there have been some examples in my life where I have found myself as the Sting level clueless baby face who is just like blown away. I have found myself like Dean Ambrose turning to a villainous Seth Rollins with that look of disbelief, only to catch a chair to my belly and back, right?
Yeah.
So I would say I am probably more on the side of assuming that everybody is a face, even to the point of getting into kind of like Becky Lynch in the mixed match challenge with Sammy, like that I can help them. Like, oh, they're very clearly pieces of garbage, but I can help turn them.
You can turn them face.
Side.
Okay. So okay. The reason that I bring this up, I think that there's levels to this too.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see, let's see like men and women, right? Do men go out into the world and consider everybody heels or faces more often, than women do? Like, or do women assume, because like I think there's levels to that, right? Like and there's also like levels of intoxication. How many beers in do I assume everybody's a face and
Yes.
we're all friends here? And then at what point of that intoxication do I suddenly turn?
Yeah.
And fuck everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Why is everybody out to get me? What
Yeah,
about
exactly.
me? What about Raven?
Why is the bartender cutting me off and this jerk of a security guy is kicking me out? What's going on with all these heels? So I think I'm a little bit. I'm at a point where I do assume face for a lot of people. Like I will walk up to random people and strike up conversations.
Yeah.
That's not something I find strange, difficult. I don't assume jerkishness out of them or whatever. But when I'm in a setting where I am trying to like get something done, right?
Yeah.
Like it depends on what I'm doing outside. Am I outside just hanging? Am I socializing? Am I chilling? Or am I trying to either like go shopping or travel somewhere or run some errands or things like that? Because if that's the case, everybody's a goddamn heel and they're all in my goddamn way right now.
Yeah.
Like traveling on an airplane, if there's 500 people on that airplane, 499 of them are heels.
Yeah.
And I have to overcome the odds.
No,
to get to my destination.
I'm totally with you. There are times I've gotten on flights where it's like, hey, look, you don't like me, I don't like you. We're in this tin can together for the next 4 hours. I'm just gonna let you know, stay out of my fucking way.
Let's just make this work, okay? Let's just get this over with. I don't want to.
We are all my row.
Kids.
My row on an airplane is a dysfunctional Survivor Series team. Like,
and everybody does the thing too. And this is where, like, sometimes I'll be on a plane and I'll point out the faces and the heels, right? Like I'll be like, oh, okay, this guy right here, he actually, when the girl needed to get into the aisle or get into her seat, which was in the middle, he got up, he moved out of the way. Then he asked if she needed help, like putting her bag, in the overhead compartment.
Yeah.
And then there's this other guy over here who just like kind of semi stood up and did the half turn. Was like, go ahead and sneak by my kneecaps. So like I point people out. I see them as faces and heels. I think you really do look at people in this way when you go through life. And people who aren't wrestling fans don't ever think of it this way. They think of it as the words optimist and pessimist, right?
Yeah, no. But you are absolutely right that the reason why wrestling is the greatest art form ever is because it understands an elemental truth to us that we judge people immediately, and
as good or evil too,
as good
right?
or evil,
Yeah.
and that they then play up to it to tell their stories. Glory
This is
be,
why, like, things like
glory
road
be to
rage
professional
happen.
wrestling.
Someone cuts you off. That's an evil person that needs to go, right? They're not. There's no levels of gray to this human being.
Yeah,
They cut me off. They are literally Hitler right now. And so you look at them that way.
Let me give a big shout out before we get into our final segment here to another wrestling podcast that recently wrapped up its run. Aubrey Sitterson did a show called The Straight Shoot for many years. When I was first getting back into wrestling after the WWE Network, his was among the first that I saw, and I was it's been a pleasure kind of getting to know Aubrey and all the other cool stuff that he has gotten into. I would highly recommend folks listen to his other storytelling show, Scald, if you like Conan the Barbarian and other sword and sandals, like fantasy kind of epic stuff. He's an amazing storyteller. He writes and records the entire episode in one take. If he screws up, he goes back and records the whole goddamn thing again. He's a total psychopath. But Sunset, the Straight Shoot podcast, it's still a great listen for a lot of the interviews he did with a lot of PWG guys. He was really tight with a lot of PWG performers, including Adam Cole and a lot of folks that are Shayna Baszler that are now in WWE and NXT. I would highly recommend going back to listen to it. I would have loved to have him on this show, but he started boycotting WWE just as we were getting this show spun up. So, it would have been weird to have him on where we primarily talk about WWE. But big shout out to Aubrey and all hail Straight Shoot. Dills, we do have our favorite segment back this week. This is the Melodica Challenge. Let's go ahead and do last week's Melodica Challenge. Dills?
Man. I'd like to say that I have a guess, but
oh, come on, man. You got to get this one. You got to get this one. No?
No. I'm drawing a blank right now. And it's funny because I'm like totally recognizing that intro piece.
All right. Well, then let me see.
It's like one of those things where it's like, I recognize that. I can't picture it. Let me right now.
Let me see if I can help you out right now. I'm an ass man. Yeah, I'm an ass man.
Well, okay, yeah. You gotta get this one, not me.
Oh, yeah, of course. Billy Gunn's theme, Ass Man. It is a shame. It is an absolute crying shame that this has been relegated to the dustbin of history because of the PG era. We need some official WWE capacity to find a reason to bring back that theme while Billy Gunn is still in amazing shape and can wrestle. All right. Here we go. This is the one for this week.
I got to say, though.
Hold on. What's that?
I gotta say, in my own defense, I don't think I ever watched Billy Gunn wrestle a singles match in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I was like I wasn't watching wrestling while he was always paired up with Road Dogg. Every time I ever saw him come out, it was Generation X stuff, and he was a tag team guy.
Yeah,
I never watched it when he was. I never watched it when he was that other tag team. The super ridiculous tag team where it was like the both super blonde guys or whatever.
The
and then I never
guns?
saw him on his singles ass man run. Like that was my blackout period in wrestling, right?
Oh man,
we both have them.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Do yourself a favor. Go back in the archives and check out some ass man stuff.
Some singles matches.
All right. I mean, he was a great worker. I think it was just his single stuff just always kind of felt incomplete when you didn't have Road Dogg next to him.
Well, wasn't like one of the rubs that he just didn't have the mic skills. So
but the thing is that it's not that he never had the mic skills. It's just hard to. It's a lot of the same problem that Big Cass has, right? I don't think Big Cass is bad on the mic. It was just hard when you come out of Enzo saying everything for you.
Yeah.
And he did wrestle Tanahashi recently, which is great.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, he did a little New Japan run. All right, here we go. This is this week's Melodica Challenge. This goes a full minute, by the way. Well, for the first time ever on the show, I'm not going to be playing it again. So I hopefully everybody got it.
I think we heard plenty to figure something out here.
Trey Warren, our Melodica Master, is in the chat room right now, and he seems to believe that you should be able to get it.
Well, probably my brain is as stuffed as my nose right now because I literally have nothing.
In fact, you want to know what?
Nothing.
I think I got it. I think I got it, and I think I know why he believes that you should get it. But we will have a week to see whether or not Willie can rack his brain and figure out what that minute-long melodica.
Oh, you know what? I think I do know what it is. I know what it is.
If you were to rank how good that melodica was, what would you rank it as?
Now that I kind of thought about it for a second, I'm like, why did he do it for a minute?
Why was it deliberately really
Why
annoying?
was it deliberately that long? And I think I have an idea why. I think it has to do with a guy who's wrestling on. It's not a WWE wrestler. This is an
there are some Wrestle Circus themes in here, and I think if you were
he's now wrestling on Ring of Honor as well.
If you were to say how good he is, you might say he's the best.
Simply the best.
If you have it, then go ahead and hit us up on Twitter at Willie Dills, at Justin R. Young. Willie, what you got going on?
Well, unfortunately, even as crappy as my body feels, I'm going to be working tonight and tomorrow, but they're going to just be like normal shows, so not events that last forever. But I have the entire weekend off to catch back up on my Hearthstone. So come join me Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to try to stream all 3 days. Hi, bud. And we're gonna really delve deep into what this new meta is going to be like now that the changes have been made. And I'm really looking forward to it because the Hearthstone meta has staled up pretty quickly after this last expansion. And this is going to be really fun to kind of get into a brand new thing, get into a new situation. And what's kind of nice about working these 2 nights, even though I would much rather just be streaming tonight and tomorrow, is I get to let the other people figure it out for a little bit.
Yep.
And then I get to walk in with some knowledge, right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to scout it first by letting other people play, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to come in guns a-blazing.
Just gonna moonwalk onto the battlefield after everybody's already laid out. Coming in at entrant number 30 into the new meta, it is going to be Willie Dills.
And you're like, what? So check me out. I'm twitch.tv/Willie Dills or at Willie Dills on the Twitters.
All right, go ahead and check that out. Of course, you can watch this show normally on Mondays, but in general, I am streaming 5 days a week at twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. But until next week.
I want you to call me for all of wrestling's latest news.
This is 1-900 Wrestling. My name is Justin Robert Young. That's Willie Dills Gregory. We will see you next week. Be dialing!
Wrestling!
Stupid idiots.
They call me Hot Rock.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking. And his name is John Cena. Well, look at that.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.